It's Tuesday, October 4th at about 12:35 p.m. We're here at Sheffield Conservation Area. Have been here for a while, so we're going to walk around the trail and just enjoy the early fall scenery in this beautiful part of Ontario. Well, it's about 1:30 now, and we've been walking for approximately an hour. And the day is just beautiful. It's a high filtered cloud. There's areas of blue sky, but lots of light cloud too that just sort of filters the sun out. So the sun really isn't getting a direct hit on the land. It's not really warm. It's mild, but very pleasant. No wind at all. It's very quiet back here. Not even a lot of birds calling, mainly just crickets and grasshoppers and distant ravens calling, but just a beautiful surroundings here with the rocks and the lakes and the trees in their autumn colors. Here's a nice stand of shining sumac. It's quite extensive in this little area, all showing up as a nice red orangey color right now. Beautiful member of the sumac family, also referred to as winged sumac sometimes. And that's because you can see in between these leaflets, there's like little wings that come out of the stem in between the leaves. Flattened areas of the stem. It's also called, the genus species is Ruscopelina, and it's found on these dry rock barren habitats. Eastern towhee calling down in the valley. Here's a view looking north-northwest over the landscape, up towards Highway 7. And it looks like the forest has maybe 10 or 20% good color change. Although there's quite a bit of that forest that's coniferous, so that's not going to change color. But it's looking pretty good, quite colorful. May not show up well in this small image. So this type of rock barren habitat maintains itself through drought and fire. So this area probably had very shallow soils all throughout its history, at least since the last glacial period. And with shallow soils, you get fairly limited vegetation production. And when you get years of drought or fire, that can get rid of the vegetation fairly quickly, which then leads to greater erosion of the soils off of the bedrock. So here, high on the granite bedrock, there's more soil erosion happening due to fire and drought influences. When the vegetation dies, the soils erode off these top areas and down into the lower valley or less sloped areas. That's why the lower areas are deeper soiled and the upper areas are a lot more lightly soiled. Well, it's about 2:30 right now, and the day is just glorious. It's getting better. Even the sun is out more strongly now. The clouds are filtered out a bit more. And it's just beautiful out here. So we're about 5 kilometers in. I think we have about a kilometer or so left. So we're coming towards the end. And it's been quite a battle with Zoe pulling me. For some reason, she pulls hard in this kind of a place, whereas on the rail trails she doesn't pull so hard for some reason. So it's 1:45 and we just finished our hike here at Sheffield Conservation Area along the Blue Trail. It's the main trail, the only trail really they have here now. And it's marked with blue paint on the rocks and the trees if you're coming here to follow it. It's a nice loop. It's a very nice trail if you want to see a range of landforms and vistas off of the area, so that's really nice. And it's 2:42, so I guess it took us 2 hours and 10 minutes or so to do the 5.6 kilometers. I actually took a few little diversions off the trail, so I may have added a little bit. So I'm just walking along a gravel road south of the conservation area here. I was going to do a little spot on the dark sky viewing area, but they have it closed right now for construction. But I'm going to follow this road a little ways up here because it comes to an old section of Highway 41 that became obsolete when they rerouted the highway quite a few years ago. I guess it was probably actually the Lennox and Addington highway. Here's where the pavement starts, the old pavement from the old highway. The actual 41 is just off to our east. I'm sure you can hear the trucks and cars going by. But this is just a nice little segment that winds through a poplar birch woodland here. Kind of neat to just walk it and think about its history. During my years as an ecologist, working for the Ministry of Natural Resources, I came to this area quite often looking for species at risk. Not only are there the conservation area lands that we've just walked, but there's also big blocks of crown land around here and several significant natural areas that have been identified over the years. So I spent a fair amount of time over some of those years scrounging around these various lands, trying to document not only the rare species but also the general habitat communities. I was also at times assisting consultants that we had hired to do inventories of large blocks of crown land up here, and so I might go out with them for a day or two here and there, just assisting in documenting communities, vegetation communities and species that they were seeing. It was a good chance to get out and explore land that you'll probably never see again, because quite a bit of it at times we were accessing by helicopter. So very inaccessible areas, and a good opportunity and a lucky chance to get out and see some of that. Interesting, on this pavement you can still see the faded remnants of the center line here, double line. As you can see up ahead, perhaps this old road just comes out and almost basically joins the old 40 or the new 41 highway. Doesn't actually link right up with it today. There's a guardrail there, but that's where it comes out. So here we are out beside the current highway, and here this track just ends here and in a little space that's big enough for cars to turn around if they happen to drive down it. They probably shouldn't be driving down it anyhow, but I'm sure some do. Just one of those little spots you can come and see the remains of man's efforts from the past gradually decaying into the local landscape. Just fun to think about the history of activities that were here and are now changed.